Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Pundits Pundit. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth, and I am the author of this book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders, which is available on Kindle and Amazon. What I'm going to do now is turn it over to Denzel Snipes. Denzel?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? All right. And so tonight we got a loaded show for everyone of awesome topics, and let's get on right into it. So the first topic this evening is one quarterback, Dak Prescott, that guy up in Dallas, kind of been there since 2016. So after the recent playoff loss in Green Bay, seemingly it's like this every single year with Cowboys fans, because like he goes out there during the regular season, he lights it up against bad teams. He may even beat a good team, lights up the stat sheet. Oh, he should be MVP and everything. Then they lose in like the wild card round or maybe the divisional round, and it's it may be time to move on from Dak and ad nauseum repeat. Okay, so the question is, after the recent wild card round loss to Candy Ebling's Green Bay Packers, applause to your team, ma'am. Applause to your team. Was Dak Prescott's contract a mistake? His extension? Now, a few notes here before we go around the panel. He has a career. It's not to say the guy, sucks or anything. I mean, he's got 202 touchdowns and 74 career interceptions. He has a career passer rating of 99.0. He's the 2016 Pepsi NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. After the 2020 season, he signed a 4-year, $160 million deal. $126 million of it guaranteed. He's about to enter the final year of that deal. And as stated before, he never got out of the division round. He only has 2 career playoff wins. One against Seattle and one against Tampa Bay, which was Tom Brady's final game. So going around the panel, was Dak Prescott's contract a mistake? And dare I ask, if you were to move on from Dak, who would you replace him with? I want to start off with settling up there. What do you got?
Would I say his contract was a mistake? No. I would say it's more of a coaching mistake. I think you got to lead more of it to Mike McCarthy. Honestly, I know he even took my team, but I just think he's part of the problem. If I look around the league, there's 32 teams. How many quarterbacks are above him, and how many would you rate below him? And that's the question, because if you're going to move on with him, like you said, who are you going to go to? Who would you rather have? He is up there as a quarterback. I would say, is he the elite? No. Is he a Brady? Is he a Manning? No. But even they only have how many rings? Like Manning only has how many rings? So was his contract a mistake? No. I think part of it is timing. I think part of it is the surrounding cast that you surround him with and the coaches that you surround him with. Let's face it. Look at like Matthew Stafford. He was in Detroit for how long? He had what kind of talent level did he have? Then they traded him to the team, and look, then they got a Super Bowl win. I think it's right team, right mixture with the right coach and the right players. So do I think he's overrated? Is he the best quarterback? No. But is he the worst? No. Am I surprised that they haven't taken it further? I am a little surprised. I'm happy because obviously they have matched up with my Green Bay Packers for how many years, and my Packers have had the better of them in those playoffs.
For the last 12.
So I can't say but as far as is his contract, players are making a lot of money these days, and they're shelling out a lot of money, and so are some of the coaches these days. Do I think it was a mistake? No. But that's my opinion.
Let's go to the chat room real quickly. Jacob, you're being assigned chat room duty tonight.
Jesse Stuber, next big thing, Alabama. Okay, very nice.
Don't forget the hello.
Yay. Let's go Panthers. Hello.
Joshua Burstein.
There you go. Yeah, Joshua Bernstein's a good friend of mine that I've known. So
before I move it on to Jacob, Candy, your commentary actually reminded me of right after the 2014 season. I think it was around 2013, and Tony Romo signed like this $100 million extension. He actually had to restructure it because in 2014, Des Bryant had an awesome season, and DeMarco Murray had an awesome season, and you couldn't pay both men. So they actually ended up, after they lost to your Packers in the divisional round, they actually ended up having to let DeMarco Murray go, and then Des Bryant got his big contract. So I say all of that to say this. With Dak Prescott, I don't think it was a mistake simply because who else were you going to pay? Who else was worthy of a big contract at that time period? Zeke? Zeke was kind of starting his downtrend a little bit, maybe. Who else were you really going to pay? CeeDee Lamb had yet to get there. So yeah, I don't think it's so much a mistake, but I want to swing it over to Jacob and get your thoughts about this. Do you think that Dak Prescott's contract was a mistake? And if you were to move on from him, who would you replace him with? Go ahead.
All right. You've heard me say on Professor and the Pupil. You've heard me say it on the South Florida, the Sports Exchange. You've heard me say it here, and you've heard me say it on Gauntlet 18 different times. You've heard me say it all these places. How many times do I tell the front offices to quit jumping to conclusions, quit jumping the gun, quit? But I said it with, I'm just going to use an example about the Mel Tucker thing and all of those. You always get one good time, and then you have to pay them. You have to pay somebody. You always have to get it. So in one case, yeah, in retrospect, it could be a big mistake. In the other, I also have a pundit point from a past. Watching Dak get hurt and then saying on there, I just kind of went like this, and I went, this is why you pay them, because his career could end. They probably, in truth, him getting hurt probably got Jerry Jones scared, and he wanted to nail down that quarterback. There's that. But who do you replace him with? Who do you replace with? Because here's the thing. You remember that little comeback that meant no difference in that game against Green Bay?
Right.
You know, when he's throwing the ball and it's all that garbage yards?
Empty calories.
Yeah, absolutely. But you want to know, remember that part? That was the thing that, I mean, a lot of people talk about, oh, we want Cooper Rush. We want this, we want that. You're not getting those quick yards out of him. You got to remember, they got those quick things and beat Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some years ago, a couple of years ago or so. They beat Arizona like that. Got him way back into the end. It was like 47, 46 or something. Something along those lines. Just a big comeback. You're not going to get that out of a Cooper Rush. You're not going to get it out of Trey Lance. So who do you replace him with? Someone of equal value, which is in truth of what he can do is not there right now. It's not. So what we have to be able to do is you keep him. And by the way, you just like she said, you get rid of Mike McCarthy. That was a horrible mistake from the get-go.
Okay, so it looks like we got some definite non-Cowboys fans who think that they should move on from Mike McCarthy. As of right now, that seems to be he just got done with his third year in Dallas, and it's like, all right, 12-5, losing the wild card round or losing the divisional round, maybe win the NFC East. Yeah, but that's a good question. Like who would you replace him with? Do you trade him for Kirk Cousins? Maybe a slightly worse quarterback. Maybe a slightly better quarterback, So speaking of equal value, guess what they're saying about Dak Prescott?
I get it. What I'm saying, though, is there's a type when you get a quarterback. Is Kirk more they're probably about the same equal winner, but the type of quarterback. Remember this about Kirk. He is very much, he can do some quick shots if he needs be, but he's a better version of Kyle Orton. He can do the quick shots, but he's a 12 play guy. Long term, has a smart quarterback, smart mindset. He isn't a quick shot guy, and he's not going to. If they're expecting that, he's not going to replace him properly. Not Dak. They've been so used to Dak doing those quick shots for so long.
Yeah, no, totally understandable on that one. But want to round this topic out with Scott and get your thoughts about this. Do you think that his contract was a mistake? And if you were to replace him, who would you send to Dallas in his place?
Number one, I don't think there's any doubt his contract was a mistake. This guy comes up at key times making mistakes. Candy and I saw the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Dallas Cowboys not last year, but the year before. And I'm going to tell you something. To me, if that wasn't one of the biggest choke jobs I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot in my days coming from the Detroit area, let me know what one is. Okay. Now, since I have my moment where I can call up Jacob Christner every single time on the show, I'm going to do it again tonight. And I'm going to do it the old Sanford Sun, although I don't hashtag this one. Are you crazy? Really? Trey Lance is going to take his place. Why do you think the Cowboys swung this move? Are you crazy? I'll tell you why they've swung this move. Because they knew the choke artist is going to contracted to come up. Okay. I think the only thing that failed Trey Lance in San Francisco was Brock Purdy. Okay. Here's a guy that was an elite top pick that they had a lot of confidence in, but Brock Purdy won the job is what happened. Okay. Trey Lance got hurt. Now, what's going to happen is he's going to get 2 years, okay, to sit behind Dak Prescott, okay, is what you've got. And in my opinion, every quarterback should sit 1 or 2 years anyways. But, you know, the one thing about the NFL, it's called instant gratification. If you're in the dating business, you know what instant gratification is. Okay, why am I bringing that up? It doesn't matter. The NFL is. So Trey Lance will be the ultimate heir apparent, I do believe, to Dak Prescott. I have never seen a quarterback come up so choke as many times as this guy does. And when I saw it with Candy firsthand in Jacksonville, will the real Dak Prescott stand up? He did. And as a result, okay, the Cowboys lost to the Jaguars a year, you know, in 2022. So Jacob, you know what? You want to bring up Kirk Cousins? Let me give you some information, okay, from the professor. And now you're the pupil, okay? Kirk Cousins is going to end up staying in Minnesota is what he's going to do. Their quarterback situation in that great a shape, and he don't mind playing for the backup money because he's made so much guaranteed money with the franchise tag, and he's gotten so much guaranteed anyways. So Trey Lance, he's in the building. There's a reason why they're riding Mike McCarthy out. It's a prove-it deal to begin with to find out, are you worth bringing on? We'll find out. So what? Everybody's on a prove-it deal. Anybody ever know what in LA many years ago that the Los Angeles Dodgers had managers that used to be on one-year deals, Walter Alston and Tommy Lasorda? I know. I covered the Dodgers for a period of time. And then when Lasorda went out there and got a multi-year deal, he was doing cartwheels, eating his Italian spaghetti is what he was doing. And you can only imagine what that looked like. So now, Trey Lance, Jacob. Trey Lance, okay? So don't.
The only cartwheel I ever saw Tommy Lasorda do was getting run over in the All-Star game.
Yeah, well, that too, but that was a different situation. Okay, let me finish my thought. I know you're very good at interrupting me, so we had to have the one interruption presented by Sideline Sports and South Florida Tribune, assist to Jacob Christner. Okay, with that said, Denzel's giving me some body language, but the bottom line is it's Trey Lance.
Say Trey Lance is it. And to your point, Trey Lance only had like 5 career starts before he got hurt. He just had unfortunate circumstances happen to him. We literally don't know what this guy is. Literally, you can count on one hand how many starts he had. And I think even then he won maybe 2 of those games.
Well, you know, so point. You're making my point for me.
It's a small sample size of Trey Lance.
Right, and you'll see a bigger sample size when Dak Prescott thinks he's going to get this money, okay, and he got all this extra money, and like you said, how many playoff wins does this guy have? 1, 2, and that's the only Spanish I know, so sorry to alienate you Spanish people, but I had to go back to woodshop when I couldn't get through Spanish when I was in high school. That shows you what I know about that language, or any of them.
All right, and with that being said, that was a roundup to get on to our next topic here. And yeah, Candy, I can't wait for you to get on this one. Adrian Griffin and Doc Rivers. So a few days ago, Adrian Griffin was fired after a 30-13 start to the season. Everyone was wondering what was going on. The first thought that came to mind was, oh, well, he lost the locker room. Something must have been going on behind the scenes or whatever. I mean, 30-13 or the Eastern Conference, number two seed. Well, Doc Rivers, cuckoo, cuckoo, he just won't go away. Doc Rivers, who's probably the Mike McCarthy of the NBA. Think about it. McCarthy won an old ring because of Aaron Rodgers. And then you look at Doc Rivers, who won an old ring with Boston's Big Three. So, and then also pretty good about getting you like a top 2 seed and then choking in the postseason. Come on now, Doc Rivers, Mike McCarthy, like you see it, right? But anyway, he was hired. And before and I'm going to let the professor go first on this one. As a note, and I stick strongly by this, Budenholzer should have never been fired. And I think this is coming back to bite them, despite the team's current success. But Scott, let's get your thoughts on this one. The question of the day is, did Doc Rivers orchestrate Griffin's firing behind the scenes?
No, not at all. I think what happened with Milwaukee is they should never have gone with an inexperienced head coach with the group that they have. They should have gone after a veteran right away. Anytime you're in a win now situation, you go with a veteran.
True.
I remember dealing with the situation in Detroit. I was shocked as heck when Rick Carlisle got let go after 2 50-win seasons. But here's what the Pistons do with Joe Dumars. They had an idea who they wanted. And it was Larry Brown. And we all know how that turned out. So if you're going to fire a guy, you don't bring an inexperienced guy in. You bring in somebody with experience that's been there. Now, I remember when they brought Flip Saunders in there after Larry Brown was let go. He didn't want to mess around with what they had done, but then he ended up losing in the conference finals and they played more offense. So they should have gone with a veteran coach to begin with and not even bring in the experienced guy. If anytime you have a short window like that, and I mean a short window, you go experience. We've seen it in every single sport. You bring in, I remember many years ago, probably long before you guys were born, but I remember with the Detroit Tigers, for example, they brought in a guy by the name of Les Moss, okay, and then he probably coached 40 or 50 games, not many. And, Tigers they knew Sparky Anderson was available. How did that work out, right? So this is the same exact move that you shouldn't have gone with Moss. If you knew Sparky was there, you should have nabbed him up then. I know the Yankees were hot on Sparky, so the Tigers under Jim Campbell brought in Sparky Anderson, and the rest is history. So go with experience first. Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for Adrian Griffin. I hope he gets another opportunity. Listen, Uday Udoka, had 1 year in Boston. He relanded, albeit under different circumstances, and that's working out well. So if you're going with a younger coach, you better know what you're getting in experience.
Yeah, and you know, to your point, and I get it. With the whole, if you've got an experienced, team, the type of team that you have, and you want to kind of go with that veteran coach. So here's my one question for you before I swing it to Jacob. So the Lakers won in 2020. Now, they had LeBron James, they had Dwight Howard, they had Anthony Davis, 3 experienced players. But Tyronn Lue isn't exactly a grizzled old veteran. So what I think they were trying to do was, even though he's the head coach, but hear me out. What I think they were trying to do was just kind of have him do little. Like coach, but don't try to coach. Because after all, you've got one of the 3 best players in basketball in Giannis. Then you also got one of the, 4 or 5 best guards in the league in Dame Lillard. And then then you still have Chris Middleton and the whole crew, right? So maybe the idea was for him to kind of do less and let the team run itself, because some teams do that. But I just wanted to get your quick thoughts about that real fast before we swing it to Jacob.
Well, let's put it to you this way, okay? And I'll go back to the Lakers long before you brought this up. Magic Johnson got Paul Westhead fired. And who they have? Pat Riley. So I don't really worry about Ty Lue and all that. We had that same situation in Brooklyn. Who did you bring in there? And you let the players do the coaching. We all saw how that drama worked out in Brooklyn. So I don't want to rehash it.
Yep.
But I will talk about the Paul Westhead effect. He didn't last long. Magic, get him out of here. Pat Riley, we know what you have there. So, inexperience versus experience. Everybody know what an icon Riley is. Probably has more wins and championships than Phil Jackson by now with what he's done as an executive player as well as a coach.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go back to what I said moments ago, Denzel, regardless of what example you throw at me. Veteran guy, and you need experience. No matter what example you paint out to me, it doesn't matter. That's the formula to do it.
All right.
Did I answer your question?
No. Totally understand. And you know, and of course, you know, that's an outlier. I just brought up that one example because someone out there would do it. Well, what about the Lakers? You know, but no, I get it. The formula is go with experience. Right. Now, that's not speaking, you know, one thing for all 30 teams, you know, but it would be the ideal route to go. If you were an exec, that's what you would do. And that's great. Right. But I want to swing it over to Jacob and get your thoughts about this. Did Doc Rivers have something to do with Adrian Griffin's firing? And if not, what do you think it was?
I'm not sure, truthfully, about Doc, but I do know Doc. I believe what I heard is Doc has been the mentor for Giannis. So there has to be something. It could be Giannis easily on this. But here's the thing. You heard me. Budenholzer should not have been gone. Budenholzer should never have been gone in the first place. You got a ring recently. Not old, recently.
Recent ring.
Should have never been gone. So now we have an issue here. You've done this, and now you go get the first-time coach, which you want to know what he's doing? He's going over the top. He's going over the top with all of this. He's trying to overcoach it. In honesty, when you're brand new, you can just let that be. Let these people be, but he wants to show that he's a good coach. It's a bit of ego, and you're trying to prove everything. You want to know where Adrian Griffin would be great at, to be very honest? Chicago. Just saying. Young team, some good, nice little players that need a little bit of coaching, and Adrian's been an assistant. You could be able to do something like that. But that's where I'm looking at right now. It should have never happened. Doc, the problem is they bring it in to think to win the ring, and he blows games. I think he's a good coach, really good, but he can blow he can blow leads. He blows a ton of them. Blew them last year. You can't do it just for that time. You got to do it just for the experience and hope he can ride this team. Because if he overcoaches, we already seen what happened time and time again of 3-2.
True, absolutely. You know, but Doc got the reputation, and you're right. He is a good coach. You know, I'll even go as far as saying he's a good coach that has great moments. He has yet to really kind of cross over into great. But all right, Candy, spotlight's on you. It's your team. What do you got with this one? Do you think Adrian Griffin? Do you think Budenholzer #1 should have been gone in the first place? 2, do you think Adrian Griffin should be gone? And what do you think of the Doc Rivers hire? What are your thoughts about this whole thing?
Mike Budenholzer did not make the proper adjustments they thought in that last playoff run. Yes, he got them the championship, but the next year we were out in the first round against the Heat in 8 games. Did he make the proper adjustments? And that's the whole reason why they're saying he was out. So my question to you, I know Jacob. So
me too.
in comes Adrian Griffin, who is not proven. He's coaching Giannis. He's coaching Chris Middleton, who is 32. Damian Lillard, who is 33. Brooke Lopez, who is 35. All these players are nearing, let's face it, in the NBA, you don't play like a Brady, past 40. You don't do that. So their years and their core is aging, and they don't have that many more years. So they're a win now team. Let's face it. So they got to hit for the fences. We all can agree that they got to go for it now. Do you do that with an unproven coach? Right. And I don't know why they necessarily hired him in the first place.
That was about to be my question. Like, why'd you even go with him?
I don't know. And I think they now saw the error in their ways early, which everyone's like, oh, they're 30 and 10, 31 and 10, and then they're letting go
30 and 30
already. But they've seen some things that he's trying to draw up too complicated of plays, too complicated of schemes. The guys aren't responding to him. what I've heard is Giannis was calling plays and writing down and one of the timeouts in one of the games that he was drawing up the play, and Griffin was nowhere to be found. You knew there was something wrong when Terry Stotts quickly exited even before the season started. Like you knew there was something wrong with that, the whole coaching. And so I find it odd, but I welcome a team and a GM that recognizes something's not right. And instead of waiting till the end of the season and letting another season go by where it might, and maybe it wouldn't have, but making a change and making a statement saying, I've got your back. I want to win now. I'm going to put you guys in the best position. Now, is that Doc Rivers? Will remain to be seen. Yes, he is 6-10, I think, in game sevens. So his track record is not good. But who else is out there? Who else would you have gone after for this coaching? Because you needed to move on from this young coach that we've heard there were tensious moments between players and him. They didn't get along necessarily. I think he wanted to bring his style in and his style of the highway, and most coaches do. I get that. But I think he had lost some of the locker room, to be honest with you. So who can you bring in that's going to get that respect back? And I guess Doc Rivers is one of the coaches that, yes, he might not get you in those championships. He hasn't been very successful in those championships, but he's also had a pedigree of coaching a long time in this league, and that deserves a little respect right there.
Right.
And maybe that's what they were looking for, to bring this team back together and say, you know what? You have to respect your coach. And who better than Doc Rivers? And it'll remain to be seen how far they go and how well they do. Now, I did hear that they had talked to Rivers even before they let
Griffin
go, that there was a little internal consulting, I guess, is the term I read about. I did hear that Giannis has a good relationship with Rivers. He had a good relationship with Griffin, though. And Giannis has come out and said he trusts the Bucks management to do the right decision for the team. It's his responsibility to go out and play and lead the team, but it's not his job to say who should be the coach or who should be this or that. It's his job to play the game and play and lead his team. And he's going to let management worry about the rest of it.
Well, let me add a couple of things to this, Candy. Number one, okay, it was neat that Doc Rivers played locally with the Marquette Golden Eagles, so he has a pretty good reputation in the area. Number two, we all know that Doc Rivers is a defensive-oriented coach. And number three, they're bringing in Dave Yeager probably as an assistant to help emphasize the defensive part of the ball as well. So they obviously need to get back to what they were doing, and that's play defense. Continue on, Candy. I just wanted to make sure I brought those three things up.
I appreciate that. And one of the big things was they went from 4th to 22nd in defense.
Right.
But you can't put all of that on a coach. You traded away the defensive player of the year, Drew Holiday. What did you expect? I'm sorry, but what did you expect?
It's just little stuff. Then that's it. It's little stuff like that. And to your point about Budenholzer, I get it. It's kind of embarrassing to get KO'd by the 8th seed in Miami. But to be fair, you got beat by a team that won the East. And they went 6 games in the NBA Finals. So to be fair, that was a team that went on to win the East. They made the NBA Finals. Now, had he gotten swept in the second round, okay, I might could kind of justify that. Like, you lost to a team that didn't even put up an effort in the second round. And also, you know what? Might I add, in defense of Doc Rivers, he did go to another NBA final If it wasn't for Kobe's revenge tour, he probably would have won a second ring because that one went 7 games. And it took a Meta World Peace 3-pointer to even seal that. Jacob, you like you got something to say, buddy. Let it out.
Okay. Fair enough.
Did you?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, I wanted
Oh,
to say
he's on the
I wanted to say this real fast. Okay. I'm going to say this about you brought up Miami. I'm going to bring up that Eric Spoelstra. He's won what 4 rings?
Yes.
I don't think any. I mean, outside of the cup, has he ever won 2 in a row?
No, Spoelstra's won 2.
Yeah, he's only won 2.
No, he's won.
He's
But
won
I'm just
2.
saying, has he ever won straight through? That's what I'm saying.
Won back-to-back? Yes.
Yeah, but he's done that. But there's not a third. When you're saying as a thing, we're talking about this with Budenholzer, well, he did not make the adjustments. What happened with Spoelstra in that 3rd year to not make? This is the point I'm saying. It's like give them an opportunity to go make that adjustment. You've got a ring. Now you can make things. How many times do I say you can make things worse by jumping the gun? And this is what Milwaukee did. And like I said, I'm just going to stick with my point about Adrian Griffin. I like him, as a beginning coach. I'd love to see him in Chicago when Billy Donovan's gone. I think nice young players would be able to get that. And they're going to see 30 and 13 somewhere. But he doesn't need to be going for a winner. He has a lot to learn still. But those are the things, though. Is like you got to be like Miami. It's like when you lose, if it's everything like that, you're allowing them to adjust and learn from it, not fire them.
Yeah. No, agreed. Because, I mean, it's like we have to – and then, we got to wrap up to our third topic here. I do agree, that Adrian Griffin should have gone somewhere. The Bucks never should have taken him, because it's a win-now team. You know what I mean? You go to a young squad and you get your experience and you grow with them, much like Stevens did with the Celtics. He grew with a young team, But when you put a young coach into a win now, that is heavy pressure because, like you said, they won a recent ring. They're trying to build a dynasty, But we're going to move on to our looks like we having a station break. What's going on?
Yeah, we do have a station break coming up, right, Candy?
Okay, sweet. Kick it off.
Time for station identification. This show is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of this show can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit that red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for more subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. If you want to be a guest, send topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call Scott at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Our website is www.southfloridatribune.com. Twitter, or X, is @TribuneSouth. Scott's book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders, available on Kindle or Amazon. And we are partnering with NGBN TV, which will launch on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and mobile devices. It will be in 85% of the homes in the U.S. and Canada, and 4.1 billion mobile devices.
And last but not least, please leave a message after the tone. Boop. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard Candy's AI telling you what to do, where to get it, what to download. You got your marching orders? Execute. NGBN TV. The app is coming soon. Watch out for the launch, everything. You know what? We're going to do all at the end. Let's get on to our third topic because I'm getting amped up. It's like I had to diet. Dr. Do Tonight, Scott, come on now. You're bleeding on me, man. I'm getting hyped up.
Oh, give me a break. What have you been drinking tonight? Not what I've been drinking. And by the way, we want to... Yeah, we know what you are. Okay, let's go out there and acknowledge our teammate over Dave Bradley. Hold on, Jacob. Okay. I don't want you having to try to talk over me because you'll never win anyways. But Dave Bradley, our teammate over at NGBN, thanks a lot for being a part of this show and every other one that you participate in. And he's catching us on LinkedIn. Okay, Jacob, you can't presume, but don't overdo it.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I thought I didn't hear you. My fault. But I was just saying, I think you're on Jack tonight. Plenty of Jack tonight, Dens.
Hey, whatever works, right? Well, let's go on to our third topic, and that is the astronomical deal that WWE has struck with Netflix. So this is a $5 billion deal that was signed on the 23rd of Jan of 2024. So beginning in January 2025, it will exclusively stream the flagship show WWE Monday Night Raw to Netflix. But here's the thing. And we titled it and bring up WWE as just a starting point that's going to link to other commentary here. Because we just saw an exclusive to Peacock streamed playoff game when the Dolphins played the Chiefs. And so here's the question for the panel and everybody else at home. Is this the catalyst? Is this the crystal ball to the future? Are we seeing the beginning of the end of cable TV? Candy, take it away.
Well, let's see. The NFL, Amazon Prime. Let's see. What else? Oh, yeah. Peacock. I mean, already we're seeing it. Like, there are games playoff game you could only see if you had Peacock. Really? Like an NFL playoff game. Yes. Not that cable is dying quite yet, but yes, cable is losing ground and will eventually. A lot of people have said it's too expensive. It's too expensive, and they can't afford it. So they're going to stream more and more. Whether you agree with that or not, whether you like that or not, that will be the future. I do believe. Do I like it? No. I think we pay enough for the team's stadium. I think we pay enough for tickets. We pay enough for all of that other stuff that I don't think we need to pay for another subscription so I can see, Peacock, so I can see this game on this. But I need Amazon to see this game on this, and I need this and that. So you're going to be paying for how much for how many different streaming because you want to see all these different. Whereas, and I get cable's one, but I think it is the way that it's going. Do I like it? No.
Okay. Totally understandable. Now, just one small counter, because I get what you're saying. Just one small counter, and I only say this because I was a technician for DirecTV years ago. Because those packages get to be like $120, and if you're the type of person that only really watches 5 channels, that's going to save a lot of money if you have an exclusive streaming platform to those 5 channels, ESPN, a Peacock, a Amazon, just like you said, So that was my only thing right there, because I mean, if you're talking $5-10 a pop for 5, the most you pay is $50. You're saving $70. Like I think everyone here would like to save $1. But I get it because DirecTV isn't the only thing out there. You got Suddenlink, you got Xfinity, and all the other ones that are cheaper. But I want to swing it over to Jacob and get your thoughts about this, because we've talked about this before, but not long enough. So is this the beginning of the end of cable TV?
Oh yeah, because as far as what we were talking about WWE, that will be on Monday night on Top Rope Talk on Sideline Sports. That's just going to be there, but. That is, but the biggest thing that we're seeing is it's been this way for a while. It's just getting bigger and bigger. Think about this for a second. You used to want every small town college team. They'd want one chance to go on ESPN, for instance, and then they could get those. But they would do that, and they would use it for for any time they want to get noticed by anything bigger, by even whether it's professional or it's Europe or anything like that, any kind of recruiting. But you want to know what they're doing now? They all have their own streaming networks. Every little small team does. High school has their own streaming networks to watch every game. It's like $10 a month. They have theirs. It's been this way starting from the small. WWE, what they're doing you got to remember, they started the WWE network. That was basically first.
Yes.
The flying cameras with the original XFL was first. They kind of get the idea that what is ending, because remember, they're ending 3 months early. on USA.
Yes.
So
and we'll get into
I
that
bet
one.
you anything. I'm just saying, sorry about that. I'm betting you that they're going to spend the last 3 months, if they're not going to put the shows on hiatus, I'll bet you they're putting the last 3 months on Peacock.
Yeah.
And it's just there's everybody is seeing the end. These little TVs are seeing the end. These little everything like that. I was saying a little while back on I said it a little while back on Sports Exchange. I said one of the biggest things that we're going to have now is everything is going to go. I'm saying this. Everything's going to go streaming. Everything's going to get that. I was saying these little ideas. It sounds crazy. It always does in the moment because there's still a lot to have cable, but it's because you're not going toward the adults. You're going toward the kids. I have a 16-year-old nephew. He wants to look at YouTube shorts. You're trying to get their attention. So streaming is what gets their attention. Streaming, there's more things to do than you can with just regular cable. So yeah, this whole thing, cable's about done. I'm just going to say that right there. It's about finished.
Yeah. No,
Well, you aren't about
100%.
finished. You are finished. Okay. and so we'll just get it to right there. Okay, Jacob. Here, I'll make it I'll keep it simple, stupid here. Okay. Cable, slow death. What are we doing on this show? Streaming, period. On the pundits' points.
All right. Well, I guess who's going first?
Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna save the most loquacious person for first. That way, if we have to make any adjustments, we could do that. Okay, Jacob, you can give me your pundit's point.
Well, I want to say this real fast. I mean, the Sideline Sports and South Florida Tribune and these shows are going on NGBN, which is on Roku, which is on the Stick, which is on these places. It's not going on as a thing of ESPN. Remember this. This is the future.
Okay. So, now the immediate future, okay, is your pundit's point.
Okay. Yep. That's all I wanted to bring. Okay. One of the things I want to bring up as my pundit point for tonight is, and I used to say that I'm going to make it as part of what I just said now, NGBN. This has been a long time. I've been in this company with this thing between you all folks 4 years now. And it's been a lot of fun and a lot of learning and a lot of everything. And there's a lot of changes that have to be brought in at a lot of speed. But this is what you have when you have a professional thing such as them. I'm proud to be with them because you want to know what it is? I was telling them the other night, we were talking. It's talking about men. They're talking about men. They're not using the word person, which is one of my pet peeves. They want to say men. They wanted men between the ages of 40s, 50s, and 60s. Everybody, the construction workers, the oil rig guys, the everything. The ones that love sports, hunting, any of those. The ones that also need help. And that's the big thing. These are the audiences. And I'm proud to be a part of that. And I am proud you're all with me. And I just wanted to say that for tonight.
Very good. I like it. All right, Denzel.
All right. So my pundit point, and I kind of gave a little slight itty-bitty preview in the group chat. I couldn't wait to get to this one, actually. So Cam Newton was on an interview. I heard the snickling. You already know this is going to be interesting. So Cam Newton was on an interview recently, and he was interviewing a Baltimore native. And that Baltimore native stated that quarterback Lamar Jackson means more to the city of Baltimore than Ray Lewis. I'll already run that back. Quarterback Lamar Jackson means more to the city of Baltimore than Ray Lewis. And Cam Newton agreed. And his reason for agreeing was really based on talent alone, because he's such a generational talent and everything, and compared him to the Mahomeses and the Josh Allens and everything. He's the new, batch of quarterbacks that we're going to see for a long, long time. This is just me. And I'm not a native of Baltimore, okay? So, maybe if I lived there for a couple of years or something, then maybe I'm just saying from this standpoint, I respectfully disagree, at least for right now. That may have been a prisoner of the moment statement because the Ravens are going to host their an AFC Championship game for the first time ever, and it was Lamar who got him there, a man who's probably going to win his second most valuable player. But with that being said, it's Ray Lewis, man. It's Ray Lewis. The man played from 96 to 2012, coming from the University of Miami. You're talking about a Super Bowl most valuable player. You're talking about, at any given time in his career, one of the three best linebackers in football, no matter who was playing, no matter what team. I don't think Lamar has the time in yet, and I don't think he quite has the accomplishments yet. Now, let's revisit this question in 10 years. Who means more to the city? And again, I'm not a native, but just as a pure sports analyst and sports journalist standpoint and a sports fan, I'm going to have to go with Ray Lewis. But to be clear, can Lamar Jackson get there? 100% he can. But let's give him some time, people. Let's not live prisoner of the moment here, okay? That's all I got.
Well, let me add something to this, okay? And I'm going to debate you for a moment on this, and we normally don't do it because you're a pundit point. Remember, once upon a time in that town called Buckhead, Ray Lewis is involved in a crime out there during the Super Bowl week and nearly went to jail until he ratted on his people and saved his butt. But I understand he has a Super Bowl, and Lamar Jackson will eventually get his. But we have to make sure we have all the facts in place, okay? We realize how important he was. It's just like Barry Bonds being important out in San Francisco, the only place that ever liked him. So otherwise, everybody else thinks he's cheating. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that Ray Lewis is a saint, but you know what? Lamar Jackson will get his. I don't have a lot of respect for Ray Lewis. Okay, Candy?
Timing. Timing means a lot of things. Timing means Adrian Griffin, in walks Doc Rivers. But I'm going to have to say kudos to Matt LaFleur, because I know Joe Barry was one of your so-called real good friends. And I know there were a lot of people that wanted him out as defensive coordinator during the season. But you stuck with him and you kept him, and you and part of that defense also took us into the playoffs where nobody thought the Packers would be at the start of last season with a young quarterback. So kudos for you, because you got it right. You kept with the team, the coach, until the end, and yet you made the right decision, I believe, in firing him after the season. Because if you would have waited till near the end, would the Packers have made the playoffs? I don't know. But a prevent defense does not work in the NFL. Stop using the prevent defense. Timing, again. That's my...
Well done, Candy. Well, you know what? I'm very encouraged during this NFL hiring cycle that more African-American coaches are getting the opportunities to lead teams again. We already have three. Raheem Morris, the LA Rams got him the job over with the Atlanta Falcons. Jared Mayo, obviously the Patriots, that was a successor for Bill Belichick. And Antonio Pierce earned his way to the Raiders job. But there's one guy who deserves an opportunity and hasn't gotten it yet. And he's only got one interview. His name is Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy, to me, I thought had a sure shot at getting some of these jobs. Maybe there's a chance he'll get one of the last couple. I don't know. But yet we're going through another cycle, and he still hasn't sniffed another opportunity. All I can say is if he gets left out of this opportunity, I hope and pray, because I know Ben Johnson's probably going to take the Commander's job anyways. He turned down the Carolina job with the intent that, number one, he didn't want to work with David Tepper, although I'd call him Pepper too, because he probably tastes bad anyways. All you have to do is look at the win-loss record. I had to throw it one-liner, but seriously speaking, okay, Ben Johnson didn't want the Carolina job, and he's from the Carolinas. He'll get the Commander's job. So, Eric Bieniemy, if you're looking to get a head job in the NFL, if I were Dan Campbell, hire him as your offensive coordinator because you're about to have a vacant offensive coordinator job when Ben Johnson goes to the Washington Commanders. Eric Bieniemy's time is overdue. Let's get him that opportunity at some point down the road. And it looks like Dan Campbell may be the guy who's spitting out future head coaches. That's my take. Over to you, Candy.
So we did our pundit's point. It's time for us to go around the room and tell everybody all about where you can find us and all the good programming we have. In that lower right corner where Denzel is, you can see the YouTube. Subscribe to that. Hit that button. Subscribe. Share. Like us. Tell all your friends about us. On January 29th, we're going to go live on NGBN TV. It's going to be a sneak peek. We want all of you to download it. Roku TV, Apple Fire, what else? Let me think. All the different places. Mobile devices. This show is going to go live on Roku TV. Think about that, everybody. Not just YouTube, but Roku TV. But if you enjoy podcasting and like to listen, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, all of Spotify, CastBox, Geo7. There's how many different places. More importantly, Scott wrote a book. Make sure you go out and get it. It's on Amazon or Kindle. Lessons from the Microphone. It talks about his over 40 years of being in the media business and how it's changed. If you enjoy this show, go look at our YouTube channel and listen to all kinds of other ones. I'm on 3 Chicks in a Pod. Go over to 3 Chicks in a Pod. Listen to us. Chicks and Salsa. Go over to Sideline. They have quite a slew of shows. But we hope you enjoyed this show. And now I'm going to turn it over to Denzel. How can people find you, Denzel?
Well, Denzel Sniper 13 on Twitch, Denzel Snipes 13 on YouTube. Also, I'm at Denzel Snipes, of course, on Facebook, and Nelly Nell 13 on X, NELLI NEL13. And you can catch me on Friday nights, the Pundit. The Gauntlet. Just yesterday, we did the championship Sunday edition of the Gauntlet Presents Picked Off, and we gave our picks for this coming Sunday. Those can be found on replays on Stream TV as well as on YouTube as well. Of course, tune in to next Wednesday when we do our Super Bowl picks, of course, and as well, Top Rope Talk on Monday. So this coming Monday, not only will we be going into more in detail about the WWE Netflix deal, but that will be the Royal Rumble 2024 recap episode. We're going to go over all the matches, all of our thoughts about it, and our thoughts for the immediate future leading up to WrestleMania 40. Thank you for tuning in. You know where to find me.
Jake the Pundit on Twitter. Jake the Pundit 1 on TikTok. Bunch of different other places. And thank you for the balloons. And while we are at it, every show that I brought up on my first thing tonight on NGBN TV. And we'll see you on January 29th.
All right. Well, you know, George Eichhorn's not here tonight, but you wonder why? He's covering the Detroit Red Wings and the Philadelphia Flyers. So let's go out there and have a score out there so we know that when George listens, we know that he was excused for tonight. At the end of the second period, the Detroit Red Wings lead the Philadelphia Flyers 3-0. Coming up after Pundits Pundit tonight, and this is the way it usually works on Thursday night, we're going to have Fire Up. Candy Ebling is your host for that show. And Candy, why don't you give everybody a preview of what you're going to be talking tonight on Fire Up? I believe you've got yourself, Jeremy Ballrick, and Jennifer Matthews, Lewis, and Ralph Williams. But go ahead, Candy, give them a preview of what they have to look forward to after the show.
So we are going to talk about the NFL playoffs. We are going to talk about the quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. And then we are introducing a new segment on the show, and it's called My Town. So everyone is going to go around the room and talk about a topic that's happening to their team in their town. So you can hear all these different, because there's lots of topics happening in most towns right now. So each panelist is going to talk about their town. That's what you have to look forward to, and more. You never know.
I should point out to Dave Bradley that he's one of our regulars in the chat room. Little FYI, Dave, we will be talking soon. I'm going to try to find a way to incorporate a show where we can get you involved and talk about soccer. That's something that, as the year goes on, I'm looking to get more involved. I never really know how to plan out our years when it comes to events whatsoever until usually when February rolls around. My top priority right now is just making sure that I can line up guests as we go. And another thing, beginning next Wednesday night, the Motor City Mad Mo show returns, and my guest for next Wednesday night will be Bo Crouch, who is also on Inside the Pigeon. So hope you can join us next week at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So, all right, that wraps it up here for Pundit. On behalf of Jacob Christner, Denzel Sipes, and Candy Ebeling, my name is Scott Morgan, Roth, the Motor City Man Mouth. Thank you for joining us. We will catch you next week. Good night, everybody.